The next team on my radar is the New York Knicks. They're having a terrific season. They look great. And everybody wants to know, are they real? Are they for real this season? And my dad is a huge New York Knicks fan. He lived there most of his life. So for Christmas, I got him NBA League Pass so he could watch all their games. And this year, they're actually doing good. So when he's watching these games, you know, he's smiling, he's cheering, he's all hype. So the Knicks have been a pleasant surprise this season. They're finally playing the kind of basketball that we thought that they would play with everybody that they have on that team. You know, because on paper, they got some great players. They got Tyson Chandler, one of the best centers in the league. He's always cheesing with his tap back offensive rebound. Carmelo Anthony, he might be the best offensive player in the league. He's such a bully. He can go inside. He can pull up right in your face, mid-range three. He can post up. He's always hype. He's energetic. You know, and then Raymond Felton. Raymond Felton is playing too good right now. He's not playing like himself. That's not the Raymond Felton that I know. The Raymond Felton I know is the one that was playing on Christmas Day against the Lakers. And I believe that's why they lost against the Lakers, because of Felton. He was missing a lot of floaters. You ain't Tony Parker, baby. And obviously he injured his pinky, so that probably had a reason to do with him missing so many layups. But he was making bad passes around the paint. And that's the kind of Raymond Felton that I'm used to. I'm used to the guy that tries to do a lot of fancy stuff, tries to do really well, but doesn't really make those shots. But in the early parts of the season, I mean, he's playing too good. And I don't know if he's going to be able to play like that in the playoffs. Because if he can, then the Knicks are for real, because he's really a problem. Like when they played against the Miami Heat, that second game, Felton was pulling up for three in people's faces all game long, and all you see, splash, splash, splash. Do you think that he's really going to be able to play like that in the playoffs? I don't know. I guess I'm not a believer yet in Raymond Felton. I got to keep watching, but I just don't see him playing out like that. Now let me talk about Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd was a great pickup for the Knicks. When they first got him, I was like, I don't really know if Jason Kidd is what they need, but he is playing great. And even though he's aging and he's old and he's nearing retirement, he's still playing. He's so good that he's still effective. He can make the three. He's passing it to everybody. His eyes are lighting up on the fast break. He's just a great player. And then even defensively, he can defend somebody like Kobe Bryant. You can put him on Kobe and you don't really have to worry. I mean, obviously Kobe's Kobe, but he does a great job defending Kobe. Especially in that first Lakers game, he did a great job. In the second game, they seemed to let J.R. Smith go up against him. And J.R. Smith is not smart enough defensively. He jumps on a lot of pump fakes, and he's impatient. But Jason Kidd is he is a terrific player. And then the next thing to remember is that Amari Stoudemire is not even playing. Amari is injured. Imagine when he comes back into the mix. Now, I think they need to bring Amari off the bench, because if they start Amari with Tyson Chandler and Carmelo Anthony, there's no more spacing. Because right now, the way they're playing with Carmelo at the 4, you can't really double team, because if you double team, 3 out of the other 4 guys can shoot the 3, and then Tyson Chandler, you know, if you leave him open, he's going to get a tap back offensive rebound. But when Tyson Chandler and Amari are out there, the spacing is not the same, even though, oh, look at that ankle breaker, baby, splash. Even though Amari Stoudemire can make that mid-range shot, the spacing is just not the same, because the way their offense is working, they need those wide open threes. They need 3-point spacing, not mid-range spacing. And then if you have both of them out there on the floor, when you run a pick and roll, it's not the same. So I think that if Amari comes back and he comes off the bench, I mean, imagine that. Imagine J.R. Smith, Amari Stoudemire, Steve Novak off the bench. That's going to be crazy. I mean, what team in the league can compete with that bench lineup? And if Amari plays like his old self, if he plays like the Amari that can catch the ball face up, and try to dunk it every time, doing those spins and everything. If he plays like that with that bench unit, with Steve Novak, J.R. Smith, you can't double team Amari. Because if you double team Amari, he's going to pass it out to Novak. He's going to pass it out to, he's going to pass it out to J.R. Smith. That's going to be deadly. I don't know if Amari can accept that role coming off the bench. We'll just have to wait and see. But if they play Amari and Tyson Chandler together with the starting lineup, they're not going to be doing as well offensively. They're still going to be doing okay, but they're not going to be as efficient as they are now. They might turn the ball over more. If you notice, the Knicks have been doing really well not turning over the ball. And one funny thing that the commentators have been saying is that if they get less than, I think, 13 turnovers in a game, then the coaching staff has to like run suicides in practice. And that's actually really motivational right there. When you're on a basketball team and you know that your coaches have to get out there and run suicides or sprints or whatever, like you want to punish them. You want to make the coaching staff do that. So I can just imagine them on the court. They're like, don't turn the ball over. I can't wait to see coach running up and down the court. And that was a perfect floater. I changed my floater animation because the Tony Parker floater doesn't seem to go in anymore. And also, I think when you do floaters, you have to time it like a jump shot. You can't just hold it down like a regular layup. You have to actually time it. Because I noticed that I was in practice mode timing. Oh, look at that move I put on Dirk. I was in practice mode just fooling around with the floater, and I noticed if I held it down and never let go, I never made a floater. But if I timed it, then I was making floaters. So I switched it to that floater. I don't know what the number is or name, but I'll probably update you in a future video. But that floater seems to go in almost all the time. But back to the Knicks. Last night, J.R. Smith hit a game winner, a fading game winner. You want to look it up. It was an amazing shot. And it's funny because I think in the Lakers game, maybe he tried to do something like that at the end of the game. And I was like, man, that's a terrible shot. But I guess that's the kind of shot that he practices in practice. So I don't know. But J.R. Smith is really playing well. And he's always had the ability to play like that. He's been playing like that on the Nuggets for so many years. You know that he's a streaky shooter. He can make a lot of threes. So he fits in perfectly with the New York Knicks. And him coming off the bench, he accepted his role. So if he can get Amari to do that, they're going to be crazy. And then, of course, they still got that rookie Shumpert, a great defensive player. He's injured. When he comes back, they don't have to play Brewer anymore because Brewer is not a good shooter. He's messing up the spacing. He's good on defense, but you need somebody that can do something on both sides of the floor. So when Shumpert comes back, Amari comes back, if this team can figure out a way to put that together, I mean, they're going to be a real deal. And when they play a team like Miami, Miami's going to be in trouble if they play the Knicks. Because Miami, their weakness is really good bigs. Like when they lost to the Mavericks, the Mavericks had the best front line maybe in the NBA at that time. You got Dirk, who's obviously a problem. He's tough to defend. Then they had Tyson Chandler. They had Hayward. So even when Tyson Chandler was out of the game, he was on the bench. They just bring in Hayward, and bam, they got the size advantage. And so now the Knicks have a huge size advantage. Because Tyson Chandler, he's doing his thing. Rasheed Wallace is another old guy that's been playing really well. I think he's injured right now. But, he comes back. If all these guys come back, they're in a playoff series. Knicks versus Heat. I mean, it's going to be heated. And these teams, they don't like each other. And that's why when they were playing the last time, Raymond Felton was making so many threes. It's almost like the only reason why he was making those threes is because he was so mad at the Miami Heat because it's such a big rivalry. So it's like the players, they just step their game up to these crazy levels. So just imagine that playoff series, Knicks versus Heat. It's going to be amazing. If that happens this year in the playoffs, I'm going to all the games. I'm going to the games in Miami. I'm going to the games in New York. I'm going to fly there. I'm going there. I'm going to be like Spike Lee, baby. I'm going to be the commentator Spike Lee. I'm going to be at all those games. Shot clock cheese. How dare they do that cheese? Shot clock cheese. No sportsmanship for the Hall of Fame CPU. The next team I'm going to talk about will be the Los Angeles Clippers, maybe next week. And you never know, they might still be on that winning streak. It'll be crazy.
Once again, you have been named as the Rookie of the Month. Your star seems to be rising rapidly at this point in your career. What does your future hold?
Let's see, individual awards, rings, success, praise, and did I mention individual awards? I don't have a problem with the guy who sits here at this table and tells you this stuff don't mean nothing to him. But he's lying to your face. I busted my behind to get to where I am today. I deserve everything I got coming.